What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I've got another quick install video for you guys today. Trying to finally get the speedometer corrected on the Neon Gladiator. Oh, hi wifey.
Hey, I'm gonna run to the store.
Okay, she's interrupting my video. And unfortunately she's not sticking around to help me out with this video, but check it out. Look at this new shirt I made, Kim. So I just made her this shirt.
I love
for the Neon Gladiator.
It's so soft and cozy.
It's a crop hoodie, pretty sweet. I wish I could pull this crop hoodie look off.
You can wear one.
I don't think anybody out there wants to see that.
They might. So what you doing?
So today we are going to be installing the TAZER LITE.
Oh.
You guys have probably seen this around, but it is basically from Automotive. It's gonna allow us to reprogram the tire size for the Gladiator so that our Speedo starts to read correctly. You can put that down now. We want to see your face.
Do you? Which face?
Yeah, cover it.
I got my new nail polish though, guys.
Kim thinks this is her vlog. Get out of here. Anyways, back to work here. Okay. So go away, go shopping or whatever. She did spend the morning and cleaned both Jeeps though,
yeah.
So we'll give her that.
Shoo me away so fast.
So, anyways, so what this is gonna do is we've been driving around. We haven't put many miles on, but we've been driving the Gladiator around and we have not programmed it yet. Mainly because I've had this TAZER for a little bit, but have not had a chance to do this video. So I'm gonna install it. It's a quick install and then it gives us a lot of options. The main thing we wanted it for was to reprogram for tire size, and it will give us the option when I do re-gear, because I do plan on re-gearing this spring sometime, it will allow me to readjust for the different gear size. So basically, for those of you that don't know, when you change the size of your tires on your vehicle, it doesn't matter any vehicle, including the Jeeps, it's gonna affect your speedometer reading because the computer and your speedometer is all programmed and calculated for the size that came on it from the factory. Being that we went to a much larger size tire, a 40-inch tire as opposed to a 33-inch tire, our speedometer is actually pretty far off. So my speedometer is actually showing slower than the speed I'm actually going. And I was able to check that using like the app Waze. You can see what the speed is that you're going. So I checked that. And so basically at 60, when it's showing 60, I'm actually doing 70. So you gotta be careful, make sure you're not speeding, things like that. So this is gonna allow me to correct that. What you do wanna do is you will want to get an actual measurement of your tire. Because even though it says it's a 40-inch tire, I bought 40s, a lot of times tire sizes measure differently. So you will want to take out a tape measure and get an actual measurement because the TAZER will allow you to set the actual tire size to get a proper Speedo. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that first. Okay, so even though these are Nitto 40s, I mean you can see it right here on the tire, it does say it's a 40. It looks like mine's actually measuring out closer to a 39-inch tall tire. So that's gonna make a big difference when I go to program the TAZER for the actual diameter of the tire. So keep that in mind. So to install your TAZER, your Automotive TAZER, you wanna go in on the driver's side here. Oh, don't pay attention to that. That's not a teaser for anything coming. So we're gonna go ahead and be working in the driver's side footwell here. So you will want a light and obviously your TAZER. So let me show you what we're working with here. This is again the TAZER LITE. And what it is it's just this little box here, this little cube that's got 2 ports on the back that are gonna get plugged into. So what I did was I already plugged in this USB plug-in here into my laptop after downloading the program, and I went ahead and did the software update to make sure that I am fully up to date on my TAZER LITE before I go ahead and install it. So it's ready to go. Let me show you what we gotta do to install this thing. Okay, so like I mentioned, we're basically just looking for the 2 plugs that are gonna plug into the back of this TAZER LITE. And those are just gonna be right up under the dash here. So what you wanna do is locate your OBD2 port here because the 2 plugs we're looking for are gonna be right up behind there. But what you wanna do is you wanna be careful because it is easy to confuse because there's a couple plugs right here. But the one you're looking for is actually up a little higher. Okay, so if you locate your OBD2 port here, and then you look up just a little higher there, through there. You see those yellow wires? There's a couple of plugs there, and those are the two we're looking to access. So it's next to impossible to get the camera to show up in here while you're undoing this, but you can reach up in there, and on the side closer to the front of the vehicle of the plugs is a little push tab, and you can push in on that with your pointer finger, and then you just need to get a little leverage to pull down on the clip to pull it straight down and out of the harness. Okay, so I got one of them undone. So you can see that one there, and it's just this little tab here. You just push in while you're pulling down, and that will release it. So I got to do the same thing for the second one here. Got to be able to contort your hand a little bit, and kind of even get your second one up in there to kind of help wiggle it and pull it down. Just takes a little work in it, but again, once you get it out, you can see the little push tab. You just squeeze in on this here, and then pull it straight down. So I've got both of these out. Now with both of them out, you want to go ahead and grab your TAZER LITE, and there's only going to fit, each one is only going to fit in one of the plugs. So it's pretty obvious which one has to go. One's a little skinnier than the other. You push it in till it clips and locks in. Grab the second fatter one and do the same thing. All right, once you get it oriented right, I don't know if you can see that, but these lights are all flickering and flashing. So that means it's plugged in and installed. Now we just need to get into the instrument cluster and start doing some adjusting and some settings. And once we do that, we do have a choice of whether we want to leave that plugged in or disconnect it once things are set. So let's jump into the menus here. Okay, so we're on the part now where things are a little bit trickier, only because you got to remember how to get into the menus or look it up on their website again, because you do have to use a series of different buttons on the steering wheel in order to get into the menu settings. And then also we're going to have to make some decisions about how we want to set certain things. So let's jump right in. The first thing you need to do is make sure you've got your key, and we're going to turn the ignition to the on position. Okay, so now that we got the vehicle on in the on run position, we're going to go ahead and get into some of the menus and decisions here. So let me flip you around. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is make sure, using your arrows here, that you are in the radio or audio menu here. So see, it says audio. You see I'm in the audio display mode. So you hold the left arrow and you hit the cancel button, and you can see immediately that brings up the menu where it says light show. Okay, so it says light show there, and that means we're in the light show menu where we can make adjustments and changes. Now the light show, for those of you that don't know, allows all the lights on the vehicle, the outside of the vehicle, your license plate lights, headlights, you know, turn signals, fog lights, to flicker and flash in a different light show they offer. It comes with, I believe, 3 presets, but you can also create your own light show if you wanted to do that and set which lights you want to turn on. And I'll show you that, but I know a lot of people have already done videos showing off the light show. I'll show you that at the end of the video so you can see what that looks like, because it is kind of a cool feature. We are going to keep going through the menus though. So if we continue to hit the left and the cancel, it will switch. So this is your DTCs, is your diagnostic trouble codes. We currently have 0 codes, so we can keep moving past that using the left arrow and the cancel again. So if we had some diagnostic trouble codes, we could clear them right here, but I don't have any, so we'll keep moving. Marrying basically means that you're marrying the TAZER LITE, the actual device, to this specific vehicle's VIN number. So we do need to go ahead and do that. So to marry it, we want to go ahead and press the left arrow, but at the same time, we're also going to press the cruise on and off button at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll see what the screen says here. So it looks like it's doing a countdown until it's going to marry it. So we will wait the 10 seconds. Sorry for the buzzing noise, that's just because the key is on in the run position. All right, so it currently says it is married to this vehicle, so now we can continue through the menus using the left arrow and the cancel again. Okay, so this is the sub-menu perf, which is going to allow us to change the tire size under perf or performance. So basically it allows you to make some performance-based changes. So we do want to go ahead and enter that using the left arrow and the cruise on-off button. And as you can see, it brings us right to the tire size. So that's the one we want to adjust. And in order to adjust that, we can use the cruise plus and minus buttons. So what you have to do to adjust the size is you're going to always use this left arrow and then the plus and minus on the right hand side to move it up and down. So we are going to take it up to 39. Or whatever's closest to 39. So I'm going to leave it at the 39.07, and then what I'll do is I'll check it as I'm driving. I'll use Waze again to check and compare and make sure that I'm really close on the speed. But for now we'll leave it at 39.07 and we'll move on from here. Okay, so this menu here allows you to make some adjustment to the gear ratio for 4 low. I'm not going to bother messing with that. I'm not changing anything with that. So I'm going to move on to the next menu, which is for TPMS. It's going to allow you to completely disable that or make some adjustments to it. So again, I entered it using the left arrow and the cruise control on off. So right now it says yes. I do still want to leave it on, but I just want to lower the rates of it. So leave that back on as yes. And I want to move to the next menu. I want to lower it from 37 psi in the front. So let's go ahead and select that. So for this, because I want to lower the pressure before I'll get a warning, you're still going to use the left arrow here and you want to use the negative or the set minus. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that down to 30 psi because I want that to be my warning. I think I'm going to try running my tires at about 32 psi. I've been keeping them at about 35, 36, but I'm noticing I'm still not riding completely on all the tread. So I'm going to go ahead and lower that to 30, and this is for the fronts. And then I will move on to the next one, which is the rear, and I want to do the same. And then to the next menu here. So that's just showing me the version of the TAZER Lite. I'm on version 11.1.7 for the programming. Okay, so this full reboot is really important that you do after any time you make adjustments to the settings. You want to make sure you do this full reboot. So we're going to go ahead and select that now because I should have all my settings set. And it's going to reboot. It says it's going to do its whole, reset thing, and it takes 2.5 minutes to complete. It did say that we'll see the radio reboot and turn itself on and off. So it did just do that. And it says it'll do it twice during this time. And then the dash will reset. We'll see some various chimes and messages. But we just need to wait for it to complete its whole process. And then we can shut the vehicle off and restart it just to make sure everything is good. We'll just keep watching. We got, looks like 65 seconds left on the reboot process here. Okay, and the radio just rebooted again. It's dinging and resetting stuff so we can tell it's doing its thing. You can see it still says 15 seconds, down to 10. The radio's booting back up. Meanwhile, I could see that the light on the TAZER down there was flashing and flickering and stuff. Okay, so now that it's completely done doing its thing, I'm going to go ahead and power off the vehicle. And I'm also going to go ahead and open the door just to kind of make sure that it completely shuts off. Close the door, and then I can go ahead and actually start the vehicle and make sure everything is good. Okay, no lights on the dash. Nothing funky going on, so I should be good. So now at this point, now that it's married and it made the changes, you have some things you can do that the TAZER calls live functions. Now these functions are only allowed and accessible if you leave the TAZER plugged into those ports all the time. If you decide you want to unplug them, put them back in, and take the TAZER out, then you won't have access to things like the light show and the auto start stop disable and some other things in there. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and leave mine plugged in. I'm going to zip tie it up in there just so it's nice and clean. The only time you might want to take it out though is you might want to disconnect it if you decide to take it in for service. Unplug it, plug those back in just so that you don't have any problems at the dealer because you've got an aftermarket device plugged in. So it's completely up to you. I'm going to leave mine plugged in. If I do take it in for any service, I'll disconnect it, but for now I'll leave it in, and which will allow me to show you guys the light show function. So let me go ahead and wrap things up here, and then I'll get it in the light show mode, turn off the lights in the garage so you can see all the lights flashing and stuff like that. Okay, so you can see I have light show mode activated, and this is just their very first light show mode. So there's a bunch of different settings and you can create your own, but you can see that it is flickering through the different brake lights, and you'll see the reverse lights kick on and things like that, the license plate light. And in the front, you'll see it is flickering between the different lights, headlights and turn signals and all that good stuff. So this is kind of a cool thing you can play with at car shows, at night, different events. If you were doing some emergency recovery things on the side of the road, trying to winch somebody out while you're wheeling, things like that. It's kind of a cool feature to have. I don't get a lot of use out of it, but it's cool to know that I can when I want to. So there's quite a few other options that you can activate when you're in the live mode, meaning that the TAZER is still plugged in and connected, that are really cool. One of the big things a lot of you will like is the auto start stop disable. So basically what it's gonna do is it's gonna remember the last mode you have it in. So if you get in your truck, you turn off the auto start stop and drive with it, and then you get to your destination, you shut your truck off. When you come back and you start it the next time, it's gonna remember that it was off, and it will continue to keep it off until you press it back on. It's got some other cool stuff like being able to disconnect your sway bars when you are in two-wheel drive. It's got a winch mode where when you put it in winch mode, it will automatically raise the RPMs of the truck to 2,000 RPM while you're winching. It's also gonna remember the traction control state, so if you turn it off or disable the traction control, the next time you start the vehicle, it will remember that it was off and keep it off. It's got a line lock mode if you wanna do burnouts in your Jeep. You can set the line lock to lock the front brakes to make burnouts easier. It's got a rock crawl mode. It's got a lot of cool stuff that I haven't had a chance to play around with, and probably most likely for myself won't get a lot of use out of. But it's good to have in case I ever run into a situation where I need to use them. I'm glad to finally have this installed. Glad to finally have the Speedo corrected and recalibrated. So I'm super excited because now I'll be able to not only see what speed I'm going, but also figure out what kind of fuel economy I'm actually getting. What mile per gallon is this thing getting on the 40-inch tires? I know a lot of you are always asking in the groups on Facebook and in the messages about which programmer to go with for recalibrating. I know there's a handful of options out, and actually more options than when we got the one for Mo. I think at that time there was only 2. Now there's probably 5 or 6 options. What I like about the TAZER is the price point is good, probably one of the the cheaper range ones, but also you get more functions and more options with the TAZER for that price. So the amount of stuff that's included in the TAZER, and no, TAZER didn't hook me up with this. I actually bought this on my own, but you get a lot more for your money in this. Some of them were limited on tire size too, as far as how big they could calibrate for and what size gearing. So the TAZER was one of the ones that went to higher numbers so you can get recalibrated, and being with that I had the 40's. I thought it was the way to go. So yeah, if you're in the market, make sure you check it out. If you have any questions about it, how it works, anything like that, you can drop some comments below. I'll be glad to answer your questions as always. So thanks again for watching. Channel keeps growing. We're on our way to 10K. Hopefully we'll get there soon. And we'll see you in the next video coming soon.